regenerative agricultural principles, and
Nice.
regen seems to be the new buzzword in farming. And regen is basically, it's not just about producing food, but it's about looking after the biology and the soil. And not to go too scientific and too boring, but yes, looking after the ecology, the wildlife at the same time as being able to still produce food on a farm as well, and making sure, like we were talking earlier, that the farm is there for generations to come. Because eventually, if you keep filling something full like ourselves, we can drink as much caffeine and as much Red Bull as we want, but at some stage we're going to keel over then, aren't we? Where it needs to be a steady process because you want to keep going. And that's basically what regenerative farming is, and it's trying to reduce chemical inputs, trying to reduce synthetic fertilizers, but still not affecting that end output, because obviously food security is so important in agriculture. So it's just a new way of trying to think when it comes to farming. And I think it's something that we've always been quite fortunate with here in the UK compared to other parts of the world. We've always farmed sympathetically with nature. We've always been able to grow grass because our weather conditions are not, I know it's hard to believe, but they're not actually that extreme. We're always going to get a rainfall. No matter how dry it goes in the summer, we'll always get some form of rainfall, not like Australia and places like that. Some years they have no harvest. Every single year in this country, we will have a harvest. It might be a poor harvest, but we'll always have a harvest. So we're quite fortunate in the UK in that regards. But yeah, so it's just looking at new ways of thinking, and it's quite a good thing that sets us apart really as well, that I think is the animal welfare standards we have in the UK. And that's something that we should all be very, very proud of, and we should back Welsh and back British whenever possible, because we as Welsh farmers, as British farmers, have to farm to a certain standard. We get audited, we get checked, and we have lots of red tape to jump through, which I don't mind jumping through the red tape because I want to make sure that our industry can take the moral high ground, whereas some parts of the world, you know, they get away with stuff that isn't that ethical, to be honest with you, and doesn't sit that right with me. But a lot of people don't care, because when it imports, it's half the price of what we produce.
So where would they be, that half the price, where would that be going to then? Like, what shops would you see that in?
Mainstream supermarkets.
Your Tesco's.
Your Sainsbury's. Your Asda's. All of these places. If you wanted to be really, really concerned about where your product comes from, where your meat comes from, the best thing you can do is always support your butcher, because that will always come locally.
There was a survey once, I'm not going to remember in stats, but they were interviewing people as they were entering a supermarket, and they were saying, like, what are you looking for now today? And 90% of them would say, right, high welfare, I want, British, all this. And then they would collar them on the way out. And again, 90% of them would just bought the cheapest product in each one. So it's already well consumers saying that they want to support. So that's why they've closed, because, it's so much easier to go to Tesco and buy something for half the price.